I'm so glad now, and I tell my husband this every day, y'all. I'm so grateful for us.
Yes. And she has truly been my rock and encouraging me and been with me every step of the way.
And where we've been, and where I've been, and how I got here, really came about because of a series of things. And
I spoke to a family member the other day that I hadn't talked to in a while.
Mm-hmm. Hey y'all,
What's
I'm
going
Karyn.
on? And I'm Mingo.
And we normally say this is the Mingo and Karyn Show, but I think we're going to do it differently.
We're going to remix it a little bit today.
We're going to remix it today. So this is still the Mingo and Karyn Show, but what we've decided to do today, since we're switching up our lives, I told y'all, changing my life in 90 days. He changing his life in 90 days. So we might as well change what we do with the Mingo and Karyn Show. So what we've done is invited you to dinner with us tonight, and we're going to do what we normally do. We just decided to do what we normally do and just film while I'm cooking, and you get to be in on our conversations that we have on a regular basis.
Yeah. You know, me, Karyn and I have been talking about this for, I know, a couple of months, you know, trying to combine the things we love, but do it in the way we do it.
Yes,
and so
absolutely.
Karyn loves to cook. She loves to cook things from scratch.
And I'm making Tuscan chicken, by the way.
Oh, and I'm ready to Tuscan the chicken, you know. So, but, you know, she loves to cook. I love to eat all her food. I'm the sous chef, the prep guy. I cut everything up.
You do.
You know, and I eat everything.
Yes.
So, we know that you can do more than one thing in your life.
Right.
So, we wanted to find a very creative way to show how we spend time. And just because we're doing it dinner, and you know, we actually prepping it and that kind of thing. You all might be in the gardening.
Yeah.
You know, like when I used to wash the car, Karyn didn't like to wash the car, but she would sit out there with me while we play the music.
I keep you company now.
And you could even go to another level and say, hey, I don't like to cook, and then the other person say, I don't like to clean. You can go to a dinner, and to be creative, you know, make a reservation and tell them when you make the reservation, hey, we want to be in kind of intimate area,
spot,
like a corner, so you all can have a conversation while you enjoy your dinner, so you kind of get the same effect.
Absolutely, and we wanted to, because there are so many things that are changing from our bodies to our communication to the way that I cook to just even how we want our house to feel now is so different. And so it's like, okay, well, why wouldn't we do this? Why wouldn't, and you know, if we know we sit down and we do this together anyway, you know, just showing y'all us in a different light. And I think one of the things for me, and I tell Mingo this all the time, y'all, I don't know if anybody's like this with me, but it's important to me, even though we've been married almost 28 years in a couple of weeks, it's important that I still impress him.
Oh, you always impress me, kid.
Thank you, boo. So So I do try to, I didn't want to get lipstick on his lips, so you did good.
I get it. See, that's a veteran move.
Okay, you don't just go all in.
Yeah, veteran move.
But anyway, it's important to keep that going. And even in times where things were not good between us, or, the trying times.
Life was lifing.
Exactly. One thing about us though, our love and our life for each other is very deep.
Yeah.
So we, I ain't saying we, child, especially back in the day when we used to do petty stuff but we would say petty things. We were immature. But now we really try to hone in on being intentional about how we love one another and how we show up for not only ourselves, but how we show up for one another in our relationship.
Karyn mentioned something about happy place. I actually bought a doormat that goes in front of the door, and it said, "This is our happy place." So that goes for us every time we come through the door, and not through the garage, or if a guest come over, they understand the energy that we're giving off in this place.
Absolutely.
And what I've learned is that communication is key in anything. I'm talking about from her making this meal. She has to be able to communicate to me what she needs.
Yes.
Our communication together. I think about, you had asked me, how did I feel with everything we found out about health and the change of our life? How did I feel that affected me in my everyday life?
Yes.
And when we talked about it, I really didn't have an answer at the time, and I took a little bit of time to think about it. And I'm going to give you a great example how much this has affected me since we went to the doctor. And I read every label now. I don't care what it is. It could be from cereal to a frozen good to ketchup to a condiment. It just doesn't matter. I read all the labels. I am a guy, I've paid attention to Karyn over the years. I have. Probably more than some. But I wasn't that intricate, detailed person. Yeah. Even though my life outside of Karyn. You know, I'm going to learn enough and do enough that's going to make sure you know that I'm vested. Yeah, but it wasn't that intricate level thing. So since this, I'm constantly looking at saturated fat. I'm looking for zero. I'm looking for low sodium. I'm looking for zero in the sugar. Yes. I'm looking for the calorie level. So what that has done is made me pay attention and be very detail oriented in everything I do in life. Yeah. So now in my relationship with you, even after being married, we'll be 28 years on the 23rd. You know what I'm saying? We just keeping it going. Yes. It makes me pay more attention to you. So like if you ask me to do something, that you get my undivided attention, so I can make sure I'm getting exactly what you want. So that's the main way I see that this new change in our lives has affected my communication level. And your communication level, I'm a over communicator. So that means I'm gonna overly share, overly tell everything. I'm going to, you know, and then I'm gonna want to know everything you think, or what's your the smallest little intimate detail of your thoughts. Like I'm one of those people. But I think what this has taught me is to, because of how he's changed, I'm more open. Yeah. If that makes sense. Because sometimes when you're a communicator and people don't necessarily communicate like you, it has its challenges, because it's like, well, dog, well, why didn't he share that with me? Or why didn't he tell me? And we used to do this thing where, you know, we have one big blow up a year because we be so busy deferring what was, you know, what our issue may have been with the other one, that we neglected to just say what it was. Yeah, yeah. And so then one thing triggers it and it's just all over. I mean, it's like, okay. What you saying, put enough ice in your glass? See, oh, okay. Back 2 years ago, when you didn't want ice in your drink. See? And it's like, what? You remember when it was 1995 and we was at my mama house, like you start going into a whole bunch of stuff, sorry, yeah. And it's and things are, it's not even about that. Yeah. And so what we in growing over the years, we have had different types of communication. Yeah. And I would say for anybody that thinks that everything stays the same in a marriage or a relationship, it just doesn't. And so the way we communicate with one another today is going to be is vastly different from the way we communicated at 19, at 29, at 39. Here we are 49, almost 50 years old, and we communicate differently. But the type of love that I feel for you, you know, not even thinking that it could grow more, it has grown even more because of your openness to me. And you know, it's just changed the dynamics, y'all. I'm telling you now, you can do something, you can make some differences and some changes. Yeah. But you know, when you speak on openness, because we talk about communication, and we know that's key in every aspect of your life. I don't care what anybody says. Don't let nobody tell you different. You have to be able to communicate. But openness, I was a guy, I was closed until I was ready to be open. I will open up to you, but I'm just not going to volunteer a lot of stuff. And I found out that I would take things in and sweep it under the rug. Yeah. And take things in and sweep it under the rug. It got to a point that it was so much under my rug, the door couldn't open. Right. And now I'm trapped in the house, or I'm trapped outside the house. Yeah. And I did that. Man, and you think about that, I'm sure at some point that you feeling trapped, you also get trapped in your own thoughts, which also can be kind of a dangerous place if you don't know how to outwardly communicate with someone else. Yeah, and I use the analogy sometimes, a puzzle. I was like a puzzle. You got the picture. It's a pretty picture. It's a ranch with some horses and some flowers. It's going to be a pretty puzzle. But anybody who knows, who ever put puzzles together, you start with the boards. Not me. I'm dumping the whole thing on the floor and I'm picking out the middle pieces. Yeah. And so I'm going to give you a little bit. Then a couple of days later, I'm going to give you a little bit more. A couple of days later, I'm going to give you a little bit more. And from the receiving end, I can only imagine the level of frustration. It was hell. When you can say, you know what? If you just tell me what you're feeling, we can get a game plan. Yes. That's the communication thing. We can get a game plan on how to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. So if you're not an open person, I am telling you, it will set you free. And I'm going to give you an example. I spoke to a family member the other day that I hadn't talked to in a while. And just because life just put us in different directions. And I wanted to tell this person how I felt about them. I didn't necessarily know that I felt that way, but I wanted to communicate to them, this is exactly how I feel about you. And this is not typically our relationship. And when I kind of felt like I was kind of doing it for them, because I felt like, something ain't right, the vibe ain't right, let me reach out. And in my mind, I was doing it for that person. But once I said what I said and they received it the way they received it, it set me free. I was the person that wasn't being open. I was the person that wasn't moving forward in what I needed to move forward in. So I learned in that moment, it ain't even about forgiveness. Openness is for you. Once you're open, there's nothing you can't do in work. Open to the process. And then another thing I said to Karyn, I just said this the other day. And these are things I'm applying real time, y'all. And this is how we talk.
Yeah.
And I said, Karyn, I just thought about something. And she's like, she said, what did you think about? I said, the way you eliminate stress is get rid of the idea of you changing things that you cannot change.
Yep.
I accepted that. So that means if I don't agree with something, and I know no matter what I say or no matter what I do, it's going to be exactly like that.
Yes.
I accepted that. And I'm learning in my journey. I'm 49 years old, right? And let's go back. Let's take 10 off. Because, from baby to 10, you really just doing whatever. For real.
Yeah.
So, but let's take 39 years of my life. I've operated with just being one way or being not exactly closed-minded, but not really ready to try new things.
Right.
And then when I go to this doctor and this doctor say, hey, this is what it could have been. Oh my gosh, everything is precious to me now.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, and it's even for me, I have health issues that I'm working through as well. And it's just like y'all see us, with our nice little glass of wine, and it's literally a nice little glass of wine just for this, podcast, and it's a Sunday, and we, had a death in my family, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And even that, having had 3 people in my family pass away in like a little bit over a year has been crazy. And that made me value life too. And so knowing that, because I am my own rock. So let me be very clear, because for people to say, oh, you got to have the other person to be, and, they complete you. I don't believe in all of that. Yeah. But even though I'm my own rock, you're my rock too.
Absolutely. I feel
and
the
so,
same way.
yes. And so when you got that report from the doctor's office, it felt devastating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so then to have all of the other things happen in my life made me really value us. It made me really value life. It made me value the little things. And he's right. Anything that is causing you stress, I don't care where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Even if it's your significant other, if it's your family, whatever, if it's your coworkers,
your job, anything.
Let it go, man. I'm telling you, because I did not know. I had such a moment last week. I had so much anxiety leading up to the funeral, and I was going through just some interpersonal things, some things outside of outside of just my marriage with Mingo. It was like inside of me that only I could fix. And so I had to really start to dig deep and figure out where that was coming from. It started even with this kind of this dream I had, and I woke up and I felt a way, but it was making me cry, and I couldn't figure out why was I crying.
Yeah, in her sleep.
Yeah, and because I woke up, I was like, was I crying in my sleep? But then it made me understand that even with the health problems and where we've been and where I've been and how I got here, really came about because of a series of things, and that either I was going to choose to live in that series of things that were going to continue to affect my health, affect me, emotionally. Either I was going to continue to sit in that, or I was going to decide how to let it go. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I had a migraine. This is how bad all of this stressed me out. I had a migraine for 4 straight days.
And she hadn't had migraines since our early 20s.
Yeah, and and I knew then, I was like, okay, leading up to this funeral, I was feeling really anxious. It was just a lot, just because of the series of things that have happened. And so I'm telling you, whoever you are, whatever it is, man, just let it go. Because when I got up on that 4th day, or that 5th day rather, and my migraine was gone, I realized then it was something inside of me that I needed to just release. I didn't need to talk through it like I normally do. I didn't need to call nobody and get something off my chest like I didn't need to do any of that. Whatever it was, I had to just let it go.
And when you let something go, sometimes you will get a test. Yes. To see if you really let it go. And that test doesn't always have to come immediately. Yeah. It could be the most random thing, the most random day, way down the line. And the test is to see how you're going to react. And so what we learned in communication, if we can give any advice, pay attention to the other person. And don't listen to, what's the word I'm looking for?
To respond.
Yeah, don't listen to respond. Kind of listen, because you may not agree with it. I may not agree with anything Karyn is saying at the time, but my whole designation at that point is to be a support system.
Right.
And if I truly love her and I truly care about her, because when Karyn talks about being a rock, she has been my rock, because she know how I am about the doctor. You know,
yes.
And she has truly been my rock and encouraging me and been with me every step of the way. And I don't want to make this just about me or just about our health, but health is wealth. So me learning to pay attention to what I eat made me pay more attention to everything in my life. Just taking a few more seconds, maybe taking a double take on it to make sure that what my intentions are intentional. I'm just not haphazardly doing things. Yeah. So as we explore this new format, we're just saying you don't have to do it exactly like Mingo and Karyn. But this is a way that has worked for us and it has given us longevity. Because what we found out is that all of our children are grown. They are really grown. And they're living their lives. So now we had to find a way that made us feel like, okay, we need to put us first, because what we discovered was we were not putting ourselves first.
Right.
When it came to Mingo and Karyn, it would be like, okay, the kids need this. Our clients need that. We were always putting ourselves at the bottom of the list.
Yes.
And you can only neglect yourself for so long.
Right.
Then you have to have, I believe in preventive maintenance. Now, I do it on every other aspect of my life. From the house, to the car, to just get my shoes polished, whatever. I believe in preventive maintenance. But when it comes to me, wasn't going getting regular visits, just all of that. I'm talking everything, every aspect of health. I believe in preventive maintenance now, because I don't have to fear what I don't know. I can only correct what I do know.
You better say that and be empowered by that. And it's the not knowing that is the issue. You know what I mean? I want to know more about what you have going on. It helps me to be able to be a better wife to you.
Absolutely.
You know, just like you need to know what I have going on. It helps you to be able to be a better husband.
Absolutely.
And the openness that we've always, it's so crazy how much more open we are, and we already thought we were open.
Yeah.
And we get to share those little intimate things that I used to be like, oh my God, what's that deepest thought inside your soul? You know, when I used to be like that, like I literally now have the freedom with you to the point, that you share with me. I don't have to ask you, babe, what is it that you're thinking? And it used to be kind of a tug of war kind of thing. And I'm like, dang, is he not telling me, because he don't want me to know? Is he telling me because he can't trust me enough to share it with me?
That's that puzzle I talked about.
Yeah. And that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
If somebody can't trust you in a relationship to tell you something. But
and mine wasn't a trust issue. Mine was, I just didn't know how to communicate like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And now it's just like, and it used to be so simple to me, right? So I'd be like, I just don't understand what you're saying. I'm like, well, just say what you're thinking. But what if I can't articulate what I'm thinking? Yeah. Then it becomes, then that's where the issue comes in. But I'm so glad now, and I tell my husband this every day, y'all, I'm so grateful for us.
Yes. I'm
truly, truly grateful for our union. I'm truly grateful that I met him when I was a 19-year-old girl.
The same way.
I'm grateful that here I am at almost a half a century and I get to share my life with you.
Absolutely, yes.
And I get to be healthy with you. And I get to take this step with you. I mean, I got here with you. So I mean, I might as well reverse it with you.
Yeah.
But I'm just grateful for our relationship. I'm grateful that, we cooking this dinner together. We changing our format because we changing our lives. And we just challenge you to do something different. Even if it's just one thing. Yeah. Try something different. We're doing something different. We are believing that it's going to reach people and be able to help you. And that our advice that we have over all these years we've known each other is something that can be a benefit to you. So you can not only hear us on our podcast, but you really get to see us do what we normally do.
Yeah, and I just want to say to you, before we close it out, that you are the most amazing individual I have ever encountered in my life. And I mean that. I mean that. Yeah, and it's one of them things of, you saw how I kiss it and always push against them lips.
So you
veteran move, so I ain't got no pink lipstick. Right. Veteran move. But the whole point I'm making is you are highly talented at everything that you do.
Thank you, baby.
And your heart just, if people could see your heart, it'll probably blind us. That's just how amazing you are.
Thank you.
So we just want you all to know that this is who we are every day. Anybody who knows us, and we laugh really hard, we joke really hard, we can be serious, we can handle business, and we just love spending our lives together.
Yeah.
We want everyone to have that also.
Absolutely.
And we just want to thank you for
so much
tuning in to our episode.
New format.
Because you could be watching anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're watching us. Happy relationship building.
Happy relationship building.